That's a very tough act to follow. When I was asked to say a few words about Dutch, I wrote about 3 or 4 pages, recollections and so forth. And then when I came and talked to Craig about it, he said, "Ferd, this is what Dad said and what he told you." He said, "Tear it up. I just want you to say what comes from your heart about Dutch cakes and maybe throw in a story or two." Well, it's kind of hard because I knew Dutch for 57.5 years. We started out in court against each other in a case, and when the case was over, we were fast friends. We started playing golf together, and we've been playing, except for the few war years when we were both out in the Pacific, we've been playing golf regularly on Saturday afternoons in the early days. And for you young people, that means that in the law business, we work 5.5 days a week, including half a day on Saturday, so we didn't get into the golf place until after lunch. We played golf together, we went hunting together, and more than that, but mostly fishing, both out in the ocean for albacore, yellowtail. Every year we'd take a group out and love it, and they would love it, and we just got along well, and we'd always end up playing gin rummy, of course. And we've been doing that all along. He and I went to Montana, and for a week I had at him after we were fishing every day on the Madison River. I should say we started with our waders, and in the water all of a sudden seemed to get pretty strong, and we both decided that a wader full of waters might not be a very healthy thing, so from then on we went with a guide in a boat, and we fished along the shore, but fly fishing all the time. And then as soon as we got in, we'd have gin rummy. And I just tore him to pieces. Absolutely tore him to pieces until we got on the plane to come back. And I think it was about a 5-hour stretch. And I'll be damned we didn't get every one of those dollars back in that period of time. I won the thing I could do about it. He just got a hot streak, and that's all it was. He had a wonderful trip. And so did I. It was just fun being a partner with him. He was a master storyteller. I never could remember the punchline, but he worked on his stories until he had them right down, and he brushed it right up to the edge and broke it. It was a real facility on his part that I haven't seen him except in a few other people. I remember one thing about legal ethics. There's one thought that I wanted to pass on, and we found that early when one of us would come to the other and say, "What do you think about this? This is kind of worrisome to me as to whether it's ethical." And we both went back and forth, and every time it came up, he said, or I would say, "The mere fact that you brought it up means it's dead, no go." And that was the philosophy we had, so there was never any question of splitting the line. And that was his philosophy about the law and everything he did. He was not only a gentleman, but very warm and true friend. But I just have to tell you a couple of stories about him that occurred in the old barn, the old courtrooms, when we had a 3-story wooden building that was like a drum. One day we both were on the 5th floor. I was in one court across the hall, and he in another. I was trying a case before the judge. He was trying a jury trial. At 11 o'clock recess, he came over to me and said, "Ferd, for God's sake, you've got to tone your voice down." he said, I can't hear myself think, the judge can't, and neither can the jury. And I said, "Judge, I'm sorry as hell, but I've got news for you. I'm in front of a judge, and I know he can't hear. I am making it a point to articulate and speak loudly, and the other guys haven't found that out yet. I have just got to go ahead. You're going to have to do the best thing you can." So what does he do? At the 2 o'clock meeting of the court in his case, he goes out of his way to apologize to the court and the jury about the fact that his partner's in there doing all this talking. He explains why he says he's doing all this talking, and the smiles begin to come out on the judge and the jury. And you know that jury walked into the jury box and he got a verdict in short order. They realized that that attorney was just an ordinary person, and he had a sense of humor, and they bought what he had to say. Incidentally, I won too. The funniest thing that happened was when Dutch was representing the California Water and Telephone Company, and they owned Sweetwater Lake. He and I used to get special permission to hunt on that lake and hunt ducks, and it was great. No one else could come out. But this judge, who was the presiding judge of the court, Department 1, he asked Dutch one time, he said, "Dutch, you suppose I can get a permit?" He said, "There's some big bass in there, and I'd love to get at them." "Well, Dutch, I think we can fix it up." So on this Monday morning, we both were walking into court for the calendar call, and the judge looked up and saw him. "Come on up." The judge had already started. He had the amplifier around his neck and had already started calling the calendar. He just took a recess for a minute. Judge and I went up and he said, "How about that? Did you get it?" "Yep, yep." They said, the manager said, "Fine, they're going to give you a permit to do it." "Well, that's great." He said, "But there's one thing. You know, that's drinking water. That's going directly to the consumer. And you can't pollute it in any way. You know what I mean?" "Oh, gee, Dutch?" I said, "I know better than that. Hell, I wouldn't piss in the water." That went over the mic. They brought down the house until the bailiff and the clerk would start pounding and bring this court to order and so forth, and all of a sudden it was quiet, and the court said, "This hearing is going to commence in Department Number 1. I could go on for a long time. There's a lot to follow, and I'm going to miss him, and I know a lot of other people are. He was a great guy.